All right. Well, welcome. This is the first exciting meeting where we are interviewing some of our affiliate leaders. I think Irene and Elizabeth had the idea, and Lynn and I volunteered to help them with that. So it's going to be a wonderful evening as we hear from these experts in their own situation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our first person, and our first brave volunteer is who? Speak up, please.
It's me. Hello.
Okay,
Okay.
excellent.
So, yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Paige. I'm with the Spiritual Tools for Grief Healing group. Hi, Mark.
Great. Thank you.
Hi.
So I'll be asking the same questions so everyone can keep track of what the affiliate leaders are answering. So first of all, Paige, tell us about your child or children, their names, how they changed worlds.
Okay, so it goes a long way back. So a little older than some of the other leaders. My first child passed in 1980. Let's see, 1989, January 1st, I think. It was my baby girl, Jamie, who just was stillborn. It had been a rough pregnancy, and she ended up being stillborn. And so that was really hard, but my son Brian had already been living, so he was 3 at the time. Um, and then after that, I had 2 more miscarriages, and so that's so hard, right? Like losing a child at any age, pre-birth, or if they take a few breaths, or if they pass at a young age, or if they pass at an adult age, it's all just hard. And my heart was broken again and again and again, but I was always so grateful that I had my Brian. And then 15 years ago now, at the age of 23, Brian was uh, murdered, passed by
Mm.
someone else's hand when he was at school at University of Southern California, walking home with some friends one night, and just ended up in a bad neighborhood in the wrong place at the wrong time, and ended up in a fight, and ended up passing from a stab wound as a result of that fight, and then passed in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. So, needless to say, you all know, and Mark, you'll have to keep me on track because I could go on, but you all know how we fall to our knees and we don't think we'll ever get up. And especially after having lost all my babies, I remember one of my biggest questions was like, well, now what? Like, if I'm not meant to be a mom? And I could always hear Brian saying, wait a minute. Wait a minute, don't say that. You were the best mom ever, right? And that over time came to understand, and Mark, I know you're going to get to this later, but over time came to understand that even those babies who were in the womb, and that I loved so much for that short amount of time, came here for that time and that purpose, and that we had that plan together. So, 15 years later, I'm at a place with all of their passings that is comfortable to me, that is peaceful to me. I communicate with my son Brian all the time, like almost more than we did when he was in physical. My daughter Jamie has just started communicating with me over the last couple of years. That's been a new, but it's been really cool because I've gotten to know her personality a little bit, which is so fun because I now know that had she lived, she would have been just like me, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but it would be like my dream, right, to have a daughter who's just like me. So that's how they passed, and I do have quite a lot of time on the journey.
Well, thank you for that. And by being the first volunteer, you realize I'm going to give you some feedback that hopefully the other affiliate leaders will use. So
Okay.
our language is so important because it shapes how we think and what we believe. So just a few things you said, your son, you talked about some miscarriages, and then your son Brian was still living. You realize they're all still living, just not on earth. So there's an important distinction, and this is for everyone attending. And of course, the phrase "losing my children," I know it sure looks like from an earthly perspective, but we're all eternal souls. And as we were talking about before this, they're right there with you. And then you said, had she lived, she would be this age. Well, she was, again, she was still living. So just some gentle and loving feedback on that. So, Paige, tell us, how did you discover helping parents heal, and how did you start using their services?
Well, I first discovered Elizabeth and Helping Parents Heal in 2000. Brian passed into spirit the year before Morgan did, I believe, and Helping Parents Heal was very young. I think it was 2010 when I started leading an affiliate group in Boise, Idaho, where I live,
Wow.
and so a long, long time ago. And I ran a local group there for a couple of years, and then I had opened a healing center. So early in my journey of spirituality and finding Brian and finding all my kids in spirit led me to energy healing and a lot of things on the spiritual journey. So I opened a healing center, and from that space I was doing local meetings in person for Helping Parents Heal. So I've known Elizabeth and the organization for a very long time. I did kind of stop doing that for a while, and while I was developing other things on my journey, and then came back in 2019, I believe, as the what are we called? A special group. We're special, all right. We're a special group because we don't meet in person. We meet only over Zoom. And I started the group at that time by myself, calling it Spiritual Tools for Grief Healing. So been back for a while. And then all of those years also was serving as a caring listener.
Nice. Wow, you really have been in from the beginning.
I'm
Kudos.
old.
And so, what are you most proud of about your group, and what do you think the strengths are?
I have to tell you, and I see a lot of our group members here and a lot of other people here that I know, and I am most proud that our group members just keep showing up, and that the loyalty for us as we've gone through changes has always remained, has always been there, obviously with Helping Parents Heal, but for our own special group, people have supported us throughout change. But more importantly, just for their own journeys, they keep showing up, and they keep showing up again and again and again and again. And I'm so grateful to them for that. So I'm very proud of the members that we have. They're very loyal, committed members in our group. We went from 0 to 1,400. And so I'm proud of the growth of the group. I've devoted all of me to that. I've devoted all of myself to that group and to growing that group and to trying to help people in any way I can, because this is it's something it's what I do now. I don't have any other jobs. It's what I do. And I just do everything I can for parents because it's just my purpose now. And Helping Parents Heal has allowed me to do that. It has allowed me to serve parents in the way that I want to help them understand that they can make that connection with their child, that their child never dies, that the relationship lives on and on forever. And so I am forever grateful to Elizabeth and to the organization for allowing me that opportunity to help others, and to the group members for showing up and continuing to support us.
Beautiful. And you already mentioned a couple. That's a great segue to the next question. For those in attendance and those who will be watching the video, what are 3 things that you wish more parents realized?
Well, clearly that you still have a connection with your child, that you can still have a relationship with them. And that's what I learned when Brian, 3 weeks after he had passed, and I was laying on my bed. I know many of you know this story, but some of you don't. I'm getting my thumbs up emoji. Was laying on his bed, not in his bed. Or I was laying on my bed, not in my bed. I was not asleep. And I heard out loud, I heard him call, "Mom." And I was like, "Brian?" And I jumped up and I said, "I will find you, and I will not stop until I find you." And I did. I didn't stop. I've never stopped. I've never looked back. And it's been just forward motion, even when I take a break occasionally. So I would wish that, Mark, for all parents, that they make that commitment to themselves to find your beloved in spirit, and don't stop until you do, because they're waiting for you. They are waiting. Secondly, when you make that commitment to them and you devote yourself to learning the practices that, like all of the practices that we teach in our group that I know you're going to ask me about that in a moment, to help you make that connection with them. You understand that you can still have a relationship with them and how critical and how important that is. And then the third thing that I generally recommend to parents, other than finding somebody that you can talk to, find somebody, a caring listener, somebody in your affiliate group, a friend that you can talk to, because not everybody understands the journey we're on. And I lost some friends along the way. But also I lost my train of thought, so it must not have been important. So I'll end that question with that.
Okay, great. And yeah, you're doing wonderfully. And so you've mentioned some signs from your kids. What have you learned that helps you get those more regularly? How do you facilitate them?
Oh gosh, let's see. It's so much. I meditate regularly. I'm just getting into more of the sitting in the power meditations instead of what I have been doing for a lot over the last years. Energy work for me has been so huge. I always recommend to all of my clients and parents to please consider learning at least some Reiki 1, Reiki 2, because understanding energy and understanding that we're energy and our children are energy and how that works is huge. So when my Reiki journey began early on, before my Helping Parents Heal journey began, I think that that's contributed a lot to how I feel Brian now. And I feel him through energy. Just today, I was in meditation with somebody and I felt him so strongly here. And I felt my spirit guide here. And then I literally felt Brian's energy move to the front because I had said, oh, Brian's in the background. He's sitting at the back. And I felt his energy move to the front because he had something to say. So I share that with you because if I didn't understand energy, if I didn't have the sensitivity to energy, I don't think that I would be at that place today. The other sign I've received from Brian many times is I call it the Brian hug. And he literally sends his energy. It enters through my crown, travels through my entire body, out through my fingertips, out through my toes. And my body's like vibrating and shaking. It's the most, I don't get those every day. They're kind of special. But when I get those, I just know that he's sending me every ounce of his love. And it's just a beautiful thing.
Wow. Why don't we just let you talk the whole hour?
No,
Um, you,
no,
obvi-
please.
you obviously have a lot to share. Thank you. And 5 children. I mean, so
Oh,
impressed. What a Native Americans they have a saying, strong as a bear, and that's you. So, but we need to wrap. Finally, just say a bit, please, about your belief or your knowing about there being a meaning, a timing, a rhyme and rhythm to your children's passing, even though from a limited human perspective, it seems so wrong.
I'll just, I know I'm taking too much time, so I'm just going to say that for me, it was the only thing that made sense. When I learned the concept of soul planning and the fact that this might have been pre-planned between Brian and I have opinions about what's planned and what's not planned. I don't believe that everything is planned. I believe that we have free will. But it was the only thing that made sense. It was the only thing that gave me enough peace that I could move forward. And so to me, it helped tremendously, the belief in that. But it was not easy for me to wrap my brain around it. It wasn't easy for me to find a comfort level with that because there's that guilt of like, well, why would I agree to that? And I know we all go through that, and that's a whole big topic for another day. But I did learn to adopt that belief, and I'm grateful that I did because it really helped me move forward in my journey. So
Excellent.
thank you
Well,
for letting me share. Thank you so much.
thank you very much, Paige. Awesome. And for those of you who aren't familiar with pre-birth planning that she just mentioned or want to learn more, you can see my article number 25, proof.com. Lynn, do we have a way to mute everyone who's not speaking? And right, and Jennifer, if you can hear me, please, thank you. There we go. Okay, so our next volunteer, please, of the affiliate leaders.
It's me. Hello,
Okay.
everybody. Hello.
Well, thank you, Amy. And so you know the questions. Let's dive in. Please tell us about your child, her name, his or her name, how they changed worlds.
I'm frozen. Hold on here.
We'll just give it a moment. Hopefully I'll pass.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I was frozen. Am I back on?
You are.
It is. It is. Okay. So my son, McKellar, at 19, ended his life 6.5 years ago on July 1st. And he gave me the most amazing gift by the July 2nd, when I woke up, I was able to see an entire new astral plane, non-physical astral plane in my room. For about an hour, I could see energy, this loving, beautiful, healing light. I woke up my daughter, she was sleeping next to me, and I knew for a fact that he was still existing. His energy was still around. It didn't take away the despair and the torment of him not being in the physical, but I knew he was still alive. So it gave me hope. It made me start the journey of, okay, I'm going to find him. We're going to find a way to keep connecting. This is going to happen. I became a Reiki practitioner 2 weeks before he transitioned. And I think that was one of the things that really helps me understand that there really is non-physical energy that we just can't see, that's not tangible, but it is there. You can feel it. So that really was the first sign the next day that he truly blessed me with knowing that he is still all around me. And he began flooding me with as many signs as he could. Just he constantly will come to me. He loves to come to me in dream visitations. He loves to send to me, take me places that he's been to and show me around. But I've been very blessed that he's shown up. I've been able to see him as I can see you all here right now, and I've been able to hear him. He's actually laid on top of me where I've been able to feel him. I've rubbed his head, I've rubbed his skin. So I feel like I've been very fortunate. I'm not sure, I believe with Paige as well, being able to get into that, understanding the energy and that it is real and it's all around us, that I've been able to really connect with him in that way. So
Wow.
I've been very, very blessed. And I never would have said that the day that he transitioned, but it's given me this whole new lens in life.
Wow, powerful. And how interesting that you became a Reiki practitioner 2 weeks
2 weeks
before.
before. Yeah, I was a massage therapist for, well, now 27 years, and I was seeing things as a massage. I had a near-death experience at 5. So I think that opened me up in different ways throughout the time. But as a massage therapist, things were coming to me, and I finally had somebody say, you're doing this, you need to go ahead and get certified that year. Anyway, so literally, of course, there's no coincidences, right? Divine timing. 2 weeks before, which was all I know in planning of his transition, which
Yep.
just
Yep. Universe.
flooded me. Absolutely.
Yeah. So how did you learn about helping parents heal, and how did you start using their services?
So I had tried other groups pretty much right away, knowing I needed support. Even though I could connect and I could hear him, I knew I needed support. And some of the groups that I found weren't embracing the fact of this, our children are still in existence, that there's energy, their consciousness still exists. And so was Googling, got on Facebook, and I found Life After Life. Mom, can you hear me? I found the video that they did. So this was 2019, put it on, and I was like jumping up and down watching the videos, like, that's I got you guys, yes, yes. Finally, I was like, these are my people, these are my people at last. I found a group, I found people I could connect with. Even, I'm over in Virginia, and it was 2000, and COVID hadn't hit, but anyway. So yes, I was like, this is it. So I joined right away.
Wonderful.
And I realized that as the tears slowly stopped, and I was having days where I was like, oh, I didn't cry today. Like, oh, I didn't cry all day today, or whatever. I was like, I want to pay it forward. As I began to heal, I was like, this gift I've been given, I need to heal. I need to pay this gift forward. I've been given the most beautiful gift in this world from my child. This is real. And that's how I decided that, oh my gosh, I need to be an affiliate leader. I've got to help others understand this is real and they can heal as well. You can survive what we know is considered the unsurvivable.
Excellent, because when some parents have experiences like you're describing, they think they're the only one, or they think they're weird, when in fact, those experiences are so common.
They are, and I lost my father's early on, my birth father, and I was seeing things and things were happening, and I was told I was crazy. I mean, I was told very much that it was not real. I was crazy. I would hear things, but when McKellar transitioned, it was like, no, this is it. So finding my people.
Yeah, and even some psychologists and physicians who don't have a spiritual belief. I counseled a guy recently. He had some personal experiences, and a psychologist told him he was suffering from religious delusions and needed a long course of therapy.
I'll just share with you. I just was with a doctor, a neurologist, and was talking about, when my son transitioned, he was like, excuse me, he transitioned. When did he decide to become a female? And I'm like, he transitioned from body to energetic bodies. Like, that's totally incorrect. And you need to make that very clear from now on.
Yeah.
I was so disheartened that a neuroscience, but
yeah. Well, and that's one of the beauties of HPH. So kind of leads into the next question. What you consider your strengths, and what are you most proud of?
Oh, I definitely feel, certainly one of my biggest strengths, I feel like, is empathy and compassion. Knowing what these parents are in of course, the beginning phase going through. I get it. I feel it. I felt it. And having the ability to hold them in that space and not judge them, and not to witness them in their pain, and not be like, you got it, da, 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 but also be able to hold them there and say, yeah, this grief is going to change. It's not going to be the same as it was in the beginning.
Yep.
It's going to change. And to give them hope. I believe that one of my strengths is giving hope, and also teaching in the tools that I have in my toolbox what I've learned.
Beautiful.
Which is one of the things I'm super proud of this group, is that we offer hope. We offer these tools which are not available in any other capacity ever. I mean, the tools that Paiges come up with, the ones that we're bringing in, it's just, I see people that are so excited that come to us and like, can't believe that these tools are really real and that they work.
They certainly do. So you've covered some of this already, but what are 3 things that you wish more parents knew deeply?
Well, especially the one Paige mentioned, and that your child is still existing. There is no end. They're just out of their physical body. That was the time to go. And you still have a relationship with them in the non-physical that never ends, and it can be even better. And you can connect, and you don't need a medium to connect. Mediums are amazing, but you can figure out, you can learn those tools, how to connect on your own. It can happen. The way you feel in that raw moment when your child transition doesn't, it changes over time. It is not always as raw as it was in the beginning. There are tools available. Please use them. Be compassionate with yourself in the beginning. Lean on others. Ask for help. We're here. Reach for those tools. Ask for the signs. Your children want to connect with you. You ask for signs. They want you to move with them and continue to go.
Wow. So powerful. Thank you so much. Wonderful, Amy.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
Wow. I'm
So
buzzing.
happy to be here.
So, well, who is our next stellar volunteer?
Well, I see Anne. That's the only person I can see on my screen. Anne, are you good?
I am good. Thank you, Amy.
Okay, it's the only one I can see.
Wow. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Anne. I live in the St. Louis, Missouri area with my husband, Mark, and our senior Shih Tzu, Mia, who's 15, and she's been on quite a journey with me. Our sons, Matthew and Scott, both transitioned spring of 2020. They yeah, right when COVID, Matt passed. He was almost 30, so he was 3 weeks away from turning 30, and passed March 27th, 2020, right when shutdown happened. So a real surreal time. And it was an overdose, an accidental overdose. He had been clean for about 3 years, working really hard, recently engaged, going back to school, really smart, funny, and he still is, just creative, musical, but he did relapse after a surgery, so was very sad about that, obviously devastated. My stepson Scott, who was in San Antonio, 2 months later, excuse me, passed. His lungs failed. Don't know. He was in ICU 2 months before, never a official COVID diagnosis, but he was in San Antonio in May 28th, 2020. So two months after Matt's passing. And so obviously just devastated. Scott did struggle with mental health, bipolar, that eventually turned into schizoaffective. And then he also struggled with addiction to numb the pain and cope. So they had struggles on this earth, but we have lots of wonderful memories. Just really grateful for all those sweet memories. And Matt did come. I happened to be on a Thomas John course, a 4-week course. Matt, I got a random reading in week 2. It was 6 days after Matt had transitioned. So I was picked 1 out of 200 people, and Matt showed up with my dad, who often is the lead. He came through my first reading in 2014 when I started to step my foot into this new world. And then my mom's dad, my maternal grandfather, showed up with Matt. So Matt loves connecting. Matt is my Merlin the magician. He is always around, and he's funny, he's fun, he likes to play, he loves the signs, all kinds of different signs. Scott's more quiet, but we've had lots of good connections. And yeah, 2 months later I was doing another class, and I got another random reading, and Scott and Matt together, and they were teasing each other. I'm good looking. No, I'm good looking. So it just, it just blows my mind, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful. Yes.
Yeah, that helps. And how did you learn about helping parents heal? I
had been working with Brian Smith that fall of 2020. I'd done a holiday grief group, and then I did a course with Suzanne Giesman. So it was either Brian or Suzanne's website. I saw Helping Parents Heal on there. I didn't know anything about it. And I did have a local group, but I just wasn't it. Yeah, I needed more, and other groups too. So I did not have Facebook. I had shut down Facebook in 2014, just deleted my account. I needed simplicity and a little self-care and less distraction and noise. So I did reach out. My first experience was one of the caring listeners, Nancy Henya, and she was lovely. She had also had 2 boys that transitioned, and really appreciated her listening. And we had multiple phone calls. And then I later reached out to Lynn Orchid singer in the Minneapolis St. Paul affiliate leader, had a lovely conversation. So I joined that group, which meets weekly on Wednesdays, March of 21, and I've been going there for 2.5 years. And then I finally got Facebook, and that opened a whole new world with helping parents heal. So I jumped in all the different groups and spiritual.
And for attendees, you can learn more about the Caring Listeners and affiliate groups, top tabs at the website, helpingparentsheal.org. So what motivated you to become an affiliate leader then?
Gosh, I'm a people person. I love people. I have this journey helping parents heal has been, I mean, it felt like home when I came. I just appreciate all the offerings, all the support, the connections, the learning. So I retired 2 years ago. I have the time, I have the enthusiasm, the motivation. I do want to give back. I want to support other parents going on this journey and walk together. Yeah.
Awesome. So you have a chance to share what would 3 things be that you wish more parents knew deeply?
I just want everybody to know we don't have to do this alone. I know it can be isolating. It is, there's no right or wrong way to grieve. We all have to figure out what works for us, but connection is really important. The grief journey, grief is exhausting. It's overwhelming. It does soften though. It just is something that the thing that Amy said too about hope, that's one of the big things too. I want parents to know there is healing and hope are possible. And I've heard many times, if you don't have hope now, we'll hold it for you until you can find it. I think that's powerful. And to be gentle with yourself. Oh my goodness. I was trying to control my grief, and I just learned I have to let my grief lead me, and just through self-compassion and learning to say no. Who's safe to go to? Who can I talk to? Who doesn't want to hear it? So yeah, just a few things.
Solid gold for you and the other leaders. And attendees are going to learn from this, and people watch the videos. So thank you for sharing. Now, this one's kind of personal, but what are your beliefs and knowing about there being a medium, a meaning, a rhyme, and a reason behind this?
I had 3 years before the boys transitioned, had just started to expand, open up, and delve into more metaphysics, and I feel like I can say my spiritual awakening was the summer of 2017. By divine guidance, and then I was all about it. I was just so excited to learn and take classes, and I was working with a spiritual mentor. And so I do my experiences with connections through readings, and now really working on being able to connect myself. I've had phenomenal evidential readings and experiences, and yes, my belief system has expanded, and that has helped me in this healing journey so much.
Beautiful. And those are eternal lessons, as you know. The saying, you can't take it with you when you pass on. Well, what you do take with you is your consciousness, your degree of awareness, and it's worth it, even though, of course, the cost is tough. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and be a co-affiliate in this beautiful Spiritual Tools for Grief Healing group. We're going to explore lots of different modalities and tools and learn together. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, everyone.
My pleasure. Thank you. And who's our next leader sharing?
I'm happy to go next.
Okay. Well,
It's Candy.
Thank you, Candy. And so the questions by now. Tell us about your child, please, and details of that.
Okay. And first I want to say I'm one of the new people coming into the group. as Annie is, my daughter Amber, she was 43 years old, and she had just come home from work. She worked as a doula, and she went across the street to say hello to the neighbor, and she was shot. And the person that she talked to, he was actually the target, from what we understand. I don't know because I don't really follow all the details of that. And I can explain more about that later, but she was an innocent bystander. And that is how she made her exit from this earth world.
Wow. And how did you find, thank God, Helping Parents Heal?
So because my daughter died by or passed by gunfire, you get just inundated with the news and the political organizations and gun violence organizations, things like that. And the grief groups that I found were like that. They were victims of gun violence, parents of murdered children, and they did not resonate with me at all. It just was pain feeding. And I knew, like, I think a lot of us do, even though my daughter was 43, I always knew where she was, and I was going to find her. I mean, I knew that I knew she was still there, and I was going to find her. So one of the things I had done is I had a lot of books on grief because I had my brother had passed of AIDS. My parents were gone, not gone, but you know what I mean, on the other side, and my grandparents. And so I had many, many years of having family members pass. I had so many books. I had hundreds of them. And yet I thought I needed one more book. And I found this book on Amazon, Mary Burton's book, A 21-Day Doorway Across the Veil, How to Connect with Your Child. I'm like, that's the book I need. All these other books on, the grief healing stuff, it just wasn't what I needed. So I bought that little book, as I don't know, 25-page book. And in the back of it said Helping Parents Heal. That she recommended that in the book. And I thought, well, that sounds good, Helping Parents Heal. And then I saw, like, Amy said, I found my people. I found this spiritual tribe. I had been a spiritual seeker since the age of about 10. So I studied Edgar Cayce, things like this. I mean, I would read those books. I would study. I have Raymond Moody's first book. I'd had past life regressions in my 20s. I had experiences with almost every family member that I had had in spirit. I had some type of experience with them. So I knew I would find my daughter. But I needed to find that group of people that would support me in that, because it isn't something you can share with, even like Amy was saying, or you've even said, Mark, even a therapist. They're not there to support you. So I found this incredible, place to be able to speak freely about this journey. Really grateful.
So you're a natural at being a leader then. It's clear why you're motivated to share in this
Oh,
way.
thank you. Thank you so much. Well, it's not the easiest thing to lead. I felt like for me, it's been 3 years, and I felt like I needed to have my balance. What they say is you get to a place where you remember with more, David Kessler says this, more love than pain. And I feel like that's the easiest way to help. And, I feel that this part of my journey, that I have the place in my journey where I can reach a hand back. I can show that healing is possible. And I can share with, like Paige did. Paige was a huge influence for me. Here she is, her son also murdered. And I thought, if she can do this, I mean, if she can shine this light, if she can, be this buoyant, beautiful, joyful person, then I knew it was possible. And I hope to do the same as she's done.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what are 3 things that you wish more parents realize that you've learned?
Jeannie, because I spoke to you earlier, you've got hundreds of them, but I'll just pick 3. I think the first one is just to understand that there is afterlife, to have a belief in. I have a knowing in afterlife, but even just to have a belief in afterlife. I have a friend whose son died by suicide or passed by suicide, and she doesn't believe in afterlife at all. It's not in her belief. And the way that she suffers, you know, in her belief system, her son, he has popped into readings, and I have a relationship with her son. I can't even share it with her. So I would really wish that parents would really understand, first of all, afterlife, to have the understanding of afterlife, the belief in afterlife, the knowing of afterlife. And then the part two of that is that to know that we can connect, that the connection is possible, that we can still have these relationships with our children. And they're pretty, amazing relationships. They're just incredible.
Yeah. Wow, great energy. We were talking
Wow.
about this before we started, how people can feel energy, and for each one of you, I'm just sitting here so honored to be part of this. Good job. So what have you found? I know you've had signs from your child. What have you learned helps facilitate that, engender those?
I think, and I have had so many signs. I have a phone that I've documented hundreds of clouds, hundreds of signs. I have automatic writing. My daughter will write through just so many things. But I think the reason that I have such a great connection with her is, spiritual tools. And the way that I think that we can really increase that connection with our kids is to follow that path and stay on that. Read everything you can read, attend as many helping parents heal meetings you can, explore all of these different tools, and just stay the course. And then be with people that are on that same path. And I have chills because it's going to happen. And we're all going to have these connections if we keep that focus. And when you start to open that up, the amount of information is unbelievable. The amount of near-death experiences, the amount of your like soul phone, the ability to have EVP and connections to your kids, and there's so much information that isn't, you got to dig a little bit, but once you do and the floodgates open, it's amazing. So my third advice I would guess would be to immerse yourself in it. Immerse yourself in it, and you will find the connection to your kid and a
Yeah.
lot more.
Like Wayne Dyer taught, you'll see it when you believe it. Yeah. And so finally, if you don't mind sharing, please, what's your belief or knowing about there being a sense, a meaning behind all this, even though it seems tragic on the surface?
And I think I think you're the one that helped me with me. I think you said there was like maybe 5 or 6 ways to actually pass. Was that you, Mark, that shared that? And I started to realize that it's kind of irrelevant exactly how my daughter got to the other side. And I also found that she really didn't care so much how she got there. So I had to kind of explore that. There's a level of acceptance that comes with that. And there's also just, some exploration in that. Like Paige, I don't think everything's planned out, but her understanding what I don't know what her purpose was, and it wasn't for me to know what that is. I know what my purpose is, and I know it's acceptance, and I know it's to connect with her. But because I've had past life regressions, because I've studied reincarnation in depth, I already had a head start on knowing there's a purpose to all of this. So I had a little bit of advantage, I think, with that, and it's been reinforced. It's been reinforced in automatic writing. It's been reinforced by everybody's stories that come through. I mean, so many people come and reinforce this. So I'm very secure in knowing that. It's not even a belief. It's a knowing, I would say at this point.
Beautiful, so strong. One of the many things I love and I'm proud about HPH is their focus on we're here for people who have had a child pass, a child of any age. In other words, a 90-year-old parent can grieve a 70-year-old child passing. And the other thing is passing by any means, because, whether it's an accident or an illness, suicide, murder, or unknown, it's just a ticket back home. The soul's ready, and it's just a way to move on to how else can a young, healthy person pass on except by something that from a earthly viewpoint seems horrible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. God bless.
Thank you.
And our next intrepid volunteer, please.
Hi. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Kayleen. Thank you. Welcome. So let's dive in. We're trying to stay on time, but this is so tough with you wise beings, loving beings. So tell us about your child, how he or she passed, etc.
My son, Alex, was 14 2 years ago when I like to call it going home. He went to sleep and didn't wake up. So what you were speaking about before, Mark, kind of gave me a segue straight into Alex's transitioning. He went home at 14 in his sleep. So and the first experience I had with him, well, actually I've sensed and felt for a very long time, even before Alex's passing. I've always believed in spirituality, been a spiritual person. But when Alex went home, I said to my sister-in-law, I know he's there. I know he is, but I can't feel him. I can't sense him. I can't feel him. I'm not getting the usual things I got from my mum's energy or, from my many family members that have gone home. And she gave me some great advice, and she said, you need to relax, Kayleen. You just need to relax. You need to let go, if you can, of your grief. And once you can sort of let go in part, you will start to feel. Well, she was so right. It was 3 months later, and I was just, we all go through it. I was just starting to get I don't want to say handle on it, but better at it. And it was Christmas. And I thought to myself, I want to celebrate Christmas. And Alex came through to my sister-in-law and said he described himself as the elf on the shelf. And I was horrified. Haley was like, oh, it's beautiful. And I'm like, oh, no, that's terrible. I'm all inclusive. Alex was all about Christmas. No, he is no elf on the shelf. He needs to be included. So I thought I've got to go shopping and get just a little Christmas tree to put up on the piano because he loved playing the piano. And that was just the way I was going to, do Christmas. And I just went into this random shop, and all of a sudden, I couldn't see this Christmas tree, and all of a sudden I could feel like a sensation on my head. And I hadn't felt this before, and I just dismissed it. And then it came again, and I thought, oh no, I've got to pay attention to this. And so it was like a game of hot and cold. I turned left, couldn't feel it, turned right, I could feel it. Go up, I could feel it going down, it's like that. So I was just paying attention. And I reckon 5 minutes into this, that's what it felt like. I found my little Christmas tree tucked behind something else on the ground. No one would have seen it. And it was the perfect thing. And I thought, thank you, Alex. Thank you. I finally understand. I knew it anyway, but he's here, right? Yeah. And it's the greatest gift he could have ever given me.
He was training you.
Absolutely.
So what led you to helping parents heal? I'm curious.
So like others have said, I tried other groups. Immediately I had to find like-minded people. Even though I had a bubble of my sister and sister-in-law, I was surrounded myself with those two, but I had to find people who were like myself. Other groups, they were dark, they didn't fit right. I gave it a good gut test, it didn't feel good at all. So, and then I found it was guidance. So I found Helping Parents Heal, and I went, yes, thank you very much. This fits right. It feels right. It was right. So, and that's when I found the spiritual tools for grief healing, because I was on that bent, I wanted to find my son. I wanted to know how to do it. And I rediscovered my grassroots, if you like, via this group. And it just opened it up, blew me away, thanks to Paige and Amy's support. It's just amazing.
And so it's understandable why you were led to start an affiliate group. How long ago was that?
Well, that's an interesting story, and I hope Paige doesn't mind me sharing. In fact, I know she's okay with it, but it was only a little while ago. My soul and my son were being told, because I feel my son constantly on the left side of my face. It's always, and if I get validation, it's here, and my soul will come straight over the top of my forehead, and I know it's validation. Anyway, they were telling me share, and I wasn't sitting comfortably with that. Anyway, so one night, early in the morning, I've always had like a prophetic dream, but this time it was completely different. And I saw this, it wasn't a dream state, I was just relaxing, and I saw this great big blue heart. And I thought, oh, this isn't my son. This isn't what happens for me. What's this? And I asked, and I got the word Brian immediately. And then I saw a snowboard, and I said, well, if this is Brian, I know Brian snowboards. Give me something I don't know. And I got these boots, lace up boots, sort of combat boots. All right, who do I share this with? I'm awake now. Who am I sharing this with? And help mum was what I heard. Help mum. Okay, so I text Paige, and she confirmed for me the story behind the combat boots. And I thought, right, and that point, Mark, was when Paige was just looking for help within the group. She's just about to reach out and say who'd like to help. So I wasn't encouraged, I wasn't coached, I was told this is what I had to do, right? So I listened, and here I am.
Great story. Thank you for that. And what do you wish more parents understood? 3 things.
Well, everyone's mentioned it before, but the main thing it's what drives me is the people, mums and dads, they just should know that their children are with them always. Them, like us, are energy. We're just, I like to call it, tethered to the human body at this point in time. There's no change. We are. This is what we are, energy, right? That's what and once people know this, not just believe it, but know it, like what Candy was saying, it's a game changer. It's a real game changer. And yeah, that's what I really hope for them. Everything else I want, everyone else has mentioned. So that's the main one. It really helps.
Great. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing and who you are.
No problem.
And last but not least, who's our final volunteer for this evening?
It's myself, Mary Yamamoto, and I am the affiliate leader for Helping Parents Heal Ann Arbor. My daughter, Catherine, transitioned on April 20th, 2019. She was 29 years of age. She had a cardiac arrest due to QT prolongation. And she had the arrest at home. My husband and I were with her. We frantically did CPR for almost 15 minutes before the paramedics got there. It took the paramedics about 45 minutes to get a pulse from Catherine, and then they took her to the hospital and put her on life support. She was on life support for 5 days, and then we made the decision to take her off of life support because they gave us no hope for any recovery. And when we disconnected Catherine, she and I had seen psychic mediums before, and I knew that it was possible for us to still communicate after she transitioned. So I told her that I wanted to hear from her. I wanted to continue our relationship and our communication. That night when I went home, I laid down on the bed, and all of a sudden there were all these purple lights, beam of lights, and they were shimmering and moving all around. And one of them was Catherine. And I saw her face in repose, but she was light other than her face. And it lasted for a while, and then gradually they all left. And I really felt like this was Catherine, like, hey, I'll go with you guys, but first I got to say goodbye to my mom. Wow. I just let her know that I'm here. And since that night, I've received many communications from her, many signs, both direct and through mediums.
Beautiful. And what led you to Helping Parents Heal?
Well, I have no idea how I found Helping Parents Heal. I just all of a sudden was part of the group, and I don't know how it happened. I do know I did a lot of, searching on how to communicate with Catherine, with after death communication, and I had decided that I was the way I was going to heal was through pilgrimages. So I had one plan to Japan. My husband was going, my son and his wife, and then COVID hit. And that was about a year after Catherine's transition. And so then we were home, and I had to just dig really deep inside because I was totally shattered. I had to dig down deep inside to recover. And it was the lifeline was Helping Parents Heal, because at that point they were having like 4 or 5 nights a week. They had Zoom meetings, and that was so incredibly helpful. It was just really what got us through.
And so again, to be clear, you just kind of discovered you were in Helping Parents Heal, but you're not even sure how that happened?
No, I had to look it up before this meeting, because and I saw that it happened 4 months after Catherine's transition, but yeah.
That sounds magical.
Yeah, I'm sure
And what led you then to start a group?
Well, I had wanted to for a while, because I wanted to be more of a part of Helping Parents Heal. And I got a communication, but I wanted to make sure I was far enough along in my own healing to be able to start an affiliate group. Catherine did come to me in meditation and told me that she wanted me to start an affiliate group, that she wanted me to help other parents. And I had been for 3 years part of a group of moms through Helping Parents Heal that we had met through Mary Burton's 21-day doorway class. We have been meeting for 3 years, once a month. And I knew just how healing that's been for me, and how important that was in my own journey to be part of a group that really connected and helped each other. So I wanted to provide that for people that lived in my community, my area.
Awesome. And what have you learned that you, 3 things, for example, you wish others knew more?
Well, I remember very early on in my grief, I read somewhere, grief is not a journey because there's no destination. And I thought, that's right. There's nowhere to go. And it was just like, you're not going to really ever recover. And then I realized, no, that's totally wrong. It completely is a journey, because there is a destination. And that, to heal and become a shining light parent. So totally, it's a journey. I think probably the other thing is that guilt is a part of grief, and you have to let go of that. It would have, should have, could have. That's early on. It was hard to let that go, and it still creeps in every once in a while, but I just don't stay there. It's just not serving me at all. And just the other thing, I guess, is that you've got to really dig deep, that you have to do the hard work. There's no way around it. But if you do the hard work, it will be a spiritually transforming experience. And there are so many gifts that I've gotten through my grief.
Eternal gifts. Yeah. And so what's your knowing at this point, Mary, about there being a meaning, a rhyme, and a reason behind all this?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. When Catherine had her cardiac arrest, in the middle of that, as soon as it started and we were doing CPR and the whole scene, I immediately felt that I knew this was going to happen all along. Like I had seen this before. I knew about it. And that really shocked me. And I also feel like Catherine was in a place in her life where she had met a lot of her goals. She had a very, difficult struggle with mental illness, but she was doing fantastic. She had met her goals, and I think maybe it was just a time.
Yeah. And does that give you peace to get through this with that knowing or belief?
For some reason, I do struggle a little bit with the idea of having planned this, but so I'm still working on that. But I think knowing that she had achieved her goals is helpful. Yes.
Anything else you'd like to share?
Just for people to know that they're not alone, for other parents, and to really encourage them to reach out, because there's people to help, and it really makes it really is helpful. And also, I think the other thing is forgiveness is such a part of this journey. Forgiving ourselves, forgiving other people, or maybe our friends and family who don't know what to say, but just forgiving them that we don't always understand.
Beautiful. I'm blown away. I've been working in this field for many, many years, but I've learned a lot from y'all. I've been reminded of important lessons from y'all, just like the guilt, for example. Yeah, one of the most common feelings that parents go through, they have to work on. And of course, why wouldn't they? As a parent, you think, gosh, I should have felt that coming or seen it coming. And to all of you who have shared your wisdom. I'm so grateful. This has been so profound. Just a couple of highlights I'd like to share. I know so many of the children are passing by overdoses or accidental overdoses and had mental problems. There's a reason for this. I talk about in my book, Radiant Wellness. These children are often like canaries in a coal mine. They're warning the rest of us that we've got to improve our food and air and water, where the brain is the most sensitive organ. So to me, these children are out of love, volunteering, perhaps, because remember, they're eternal souls. This is a way they can serve to wake up enough people to say, we've got to do better than this. We've got to quit loading our brains with forever chemicals, etc. Another lesson that really stood out to me is the hope. And gosh, I almost started crying when somebody said, if you don't have hope, we'll give you ours. You can use ours. It's like the Bill Withers song, Lean on Me, when you're not strong. And just so beautiful. Several of the leaders said, I made a decision. I was going to find my child. I was going to figure out how to have that new kind of relationship, which is what it is. And then you persevered till you did it. So anyway, I could go on, but that's somehow we ended pretty close on time. Lynn, what would you like to share? I know you're about blown away as I am.
Yeah, you guys are all amazing, and thank you for sharing your stories and your kids. And I learned a lot, and I think everybody on here learned a lot. So thank you. And thank you to Mark. I think we did pretty well for our first meeting.
I think we did too. Well, thanks again to affiliate leaders. Kudos to all of you for being here. If you didn't catch it all, you will see how you can watch the video. I don't think you're going to get it one time through. These all women, we need more men involved, but these women have shared so much. Probably take a couple times through to get it all. So before you go, make sure you get at least 3 big air hugs. Soak up the love, soak up the energy. Remember what they said. Make that transition toward a shining light parent, and join us. We'll be doing this tomorrow evening with another batch of caring listeners and affiliate leaders. God bless you all. Let it shine.
Thanks.
Hugs.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
I didn't know if you wanted us to stay on, but
yeah, because I just have to brag on you some more. You all were rock stars. Wow. I pity the following groups. How are they going to match up to this?
Well, I noticed a lot of them were on tonight, so they were getting some tips from you guys.
I saw Carolyn and just some of the other ones on. Yeah, that was so
Arbor
funny.
was on and Galen was on, and
Yeah.
But you're very inspirational. So thank you all. And Mary, now you're done.
What we didn't do was actually, but Candy did. Thank you, Candy, well, I guess you guys did. I didn't, but saying what our group is about. Our group is all about tools, right? Which is the book I wrote too. It's all about the tools that helped us transcend our grief and that helped us get through that. So thank you to my team members who actually mentioned that was the purpose of our group, because I spaced it.
Yeah.
All right, gang. Take care. Everybody have a great rest of your day. And
Mark and Lynn.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you
Love you
all so
guys.
much for
Thank
doing
you.
that.
All right.
It was
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Bye.